The Hilton sale is on. Now through September 29th, you can save up to 20% on stays this fall and beyond. Long weekends, last-minute getaways, holiday gatherings. There's a Hilton stay for all of them. More moments, more experiences, more destinations. Now 20% off for a limited time because it matters where you stay. Don't wait. Book by September 29th and save up to 20% at Hilton.com. Terms apply. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
The More Money Show with Steve Moore. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So my next guest is Ted Frank. And Ted is, an amazing economics guy. He's done so much in terms of taking on the trial lawyers and other groups that would do damage to our economy. So Ted, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So tell us what you're up to. I mean, you've had so many victories, and tell us about your organization and how people can get involved, because I think it's so important to our economy.
Thank you. We're a nonprofit law firm, Hamilton Lincoln Law Institute. That's HLLI.org.
Yep.
And
so, I'm sorry, it's Hamilton Lincoln Law Institute.
Yes, sir. HLLI.
Got it.
And I'm at Ted Frank on X. And a lot of what we do is we go after abusive class action settlements. You get these notices, and it's for a tiny little coupon, and the attorneys are getting millions.
Yes.
And we take the position that the consumers, the allegedly injured parties, should be the primary beneficiary of a class action settlement.
Ted, stop right there with you up. So, because I want to make sure everyone understands what's going on here, because it's so important. So you're representing the class action people who've been harmed. And what's happening, as I understand it, because I followed your work, is that in many cases, let's say you have a defective product or something, that the people who are getting all the money are the lawyers, not necessarily the people who are harmed. I mean, is that a fair assessment?
That's exactly right. We have a case in New York pending right now over flushable wipes. And
over what?
Flushable wipes. The Cottonelle, wet wipes.
Got it. Yes.
They advertise them as flushable. They're allegedly not flushable. People were complaining about, gigantic plumbing expenses, and they bring suit, and then they settle it so that the attorneys get $3 million, and the class, all of the millions of people who have bought this product and were allegedly injured, are getting a grand total of $1 million. 99% of the class will get nothing because.
How does that happen, Ted?
Well, it's fascinating. They would go to the court and they said, okay, we're going to, the defendant is going to put up to $20 million available. And then they do nothing to notify the class or make sure that the class gets the money.
Sorry, time out. Let me just, again, because I this is so important what you're saying. How is it that, let's say, the Joe Schmo law firm is able to represent these people when they don't even know who they are? I mean, I don't even get that.
That's the fascinating and unique thing about the American class action system. I show up into court with a client and I say, I hereby, this client here bought Cottonelle wet wipes, and they hereby represent everybody in the United States who ever bought wet wipes. And those are all my clients now once we certify the class.
Even though they don't even know who those people necessarily are.
Even though I, the lawyer, don't know who they are, even though the defendant doesn't know who they are, even though those people don't know that there's a lawsuit. You are in the lawsuit unless you opt out of the lawsuit.
So here's again, Ted, here's the thing. Let's say I was harmed by a product and I suffered some real, financial loss and impairment. And maybe that impairment is $50,000, just picking out a number. So if there's a class action suit and the trial lawyers are, walking away with all the money, how am I made whole by that? I don't really understand the logic of it.
It's worse than that because they are negotiating away your right to sue. They are trading
outrageous.
They're trading a release of everybody in the class's rights. So your $50,000 claim disappears unless you go and specifically opt out. Unless you've already hired a lawyer and the lawyer is keeping track and finds out that they're trying to extinguish your rights. And these guys are settling that you can write to the settlement administrator and get a $5 check for your $50,000 of trouble. And then only a couple of 100,000 people write in. And so the class only gets $1 million. Kimberly Clark gets off scot-free if they've done something wrong, or otherwise they're just paying $3 million to the attorneys.
So we see all the time on TV these asbestos ads. I'm sure you've seen them, and these are, I believe, being run by class action lawyers.
Well, that's actually a different animal. Those are mass actions. So there you're signing up with a lawyer.
Oh, okay. That's a different thing.
It's a different scam because the people you're signing up with aren't actually the ones who are trying your case. They end up selling your case to the real lawyers.
Oh my God. So that's become a bit of a racket too.
Yeah, but there's nothing we can do about that. You sign a contract and you're kind of stuck with the contract. But we represent the people who didn't know that they had a lawyer.
Now, what about the one of the most famous product liability cases, of course, was the tobacco lawsuits. Were those class action suits? Did smokers get? I know the trial lawyers a lot of made money, but
they brought that. There was a lot of different things going on there, and that it wasn't brought as a class action. Those were states using trial lawyers to like.
Okay.
I mean, that was its own scam because the argument is that the tobacco companies caused the states to spend more on Medicare than they would have, and actually the numbers showed that because smokers die young, they spend less. But
okay, so give us an example then. I cut you off. I apologize. About a case where you have people who've been potentially injured by a product. But they have, where the trial lawyers walked away with money, but the people who were injured got peanuts.
Well, sometimes it's even less than peanuts. We've just argued a case in the Ninth Circuit out in California in federal court. Google settled a case over privacy violations for they told you if you click this box, we won't track your location, and then they tracked your location anyway. And so lawyers sued over that. Maybe there's a case there.
Yeah, sure. And
Google thought there was enough of a case that they settled for $62 million. But you, the class member, are getting zero of that. The lawyers are getting $19 million. And then everybody agreed to create this $43 million slush fund, and all the money is going to left-wing groups like the ACLU. And Harvard projects and DEI, and it's fascinating because it's not like everybody who uses Google is left wing and wants to support the ACLU. And
so in the case that you were starting to tell us about, so what do you do to help in other words, what is your value added in this whole scam that's going on? What do you guys do?
Before a class action settlement can go forward, a court has to approve it because you have absent class members who are affected. And the absent class members are supposed to get notice in a hearing. And the notice is kind of questionable. It's usually like buried on page C32 on USA Today. But we have ways of finding out about it, and we find a class member. And we go into court and we say, we got notice of this class action settlement, and this settlement is unfair to the class because the lawyers are taking all the money and the class is getting nothing. And that gives us the right.
You take that you take that to the judge, or who do you?
We take it to the judge who has the authority to approve the settlement. The settlement can't go forward unless it's approved by a judge. And we tell the judge, don't approve this settlement because the lawyers are taking all the money.
And how many of these have you won?
Oh, dozens. We've won over a couple of $100 million directly for class members. And amazing. Then indirectly, we create precedents by winning appeals, and sort of deter some of the worst settlements from going forward. But this is millions of dollars that would have gone to the trial lawyers that are now actually going to the injured parties. Billions, but yes.
Billions. That's awesome. I mean, that's fantastic. So, but I'm sure the trial lawyers don't like you very much.
I've been accused of that, and I see it firsthand. They don't quite yet have Rotten Tomato vendors when I speak, but there's definitely a chill in the room at some.
Now, what would they say? I mean, so because you deal with these people, Ted, and I think 90% of the people who are listening to the show agree with what you're saying, and they think it's not fair that the people who are injured are not getting the money. But what would, if I had a trial lawyer on with you, what would they say in their own defense? I mean, it doesn't seem fair.
They would say, well, it's hard to bring these cases, and if the lawyers aren't getting paid, then we won't bring them. And I would say, okay, that's a feature, not a bug. If you have a good case, you will win real money for the class and you will get paid. Right. And by requiring you to actually pay the class members before you get paid, you now lose the incentive to bring a bad case. And there are certainly good cases to bring. There are certainly times when corporations engage in wrongdoing.
Sure. Yes.
The Google case did settle for $62 million. We just don't, and we're not complaining that it settled for $62 million, but we're complaining that the money is not going to the class members.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So are there any interesting other cases you have going on now that we should be aware of?
We do some First Amendment stuff. Governor Newsom signed a law banning political parody if it uses AI. And we sued on behalf of somebody who created satirical videos, and we got that enjoined, and California has appealed. So we'll be defending free speech in that case. We have a case in Chicago and in D.C. over anti-American protesters who block highways and create gigantic traffic jams, and use the class action system the way it's supposed to be used on behalf of people who have claimed too small to bring their own lawsuit. And we say, you're liable to these thousands of people you trapped in your cars.
Yeah, right.
And some of these illegal demonstrations or actions, I guess, because they're tying yourself to handcuffing yourself with other people and lying on a highway isn't quite a demonstration. You're not demonstrating against people traveling. You're just trying to disrupt the economy. But go ahead.
So, Ted, what the name of the group again is the Hamilton Lincoln Law? What? Say it again. The
Hamilton Lincoln Law Institute, HLLI.org.
So, are you a public interest group?
Yes, we're a public interest law firm.
Okay.
We're a 501c3, and we rely on the generosity of our donors.
So if somebody had a situation where they were harmed by a product and there was some kind of liability case and they didn't get, the trial lawyers walked away with all the money, how do they get made whole? Is there any way they can retrieve the money that they're owed?
Not if the case is already settled. They need to come to us when they get the notification of the settlement. We can't make them whole, but what we can do is we can try to block an abusive settlement.
Got it.
Though if there's real money at stake, they should opt out and hire an attorney to sue.
Well, the other thing is that, judges are lawyers, so don't they protect the lawyers?
I think there's a problem where, there are two problems. One is judges are used to an adversary process. Mm-hmm. And in the class action system, when it comes to settlements, we suddenly ask them to have an investigative role, and they're not really equipped for that. So they're used to a plaintiff and a defendant arguing against each other, and then suddenly the plaintiff and the defendant show up and we say, we have a settlement. And if the judge doesn't know to look out for the things that the parties are hiding to screw over the people who aren't in court, the millions of people who are actually affected by the class action, they can make a mistake and approve a bad settlement.
Amazing. Well, thank you for doing what you're doing. I've been wanting to get you on the show for a long time to explain what is going on with the scam of these ambulance chasing trial lawyers. So it is the Hamilton Lincoln Law Institute. Can people contact you if they have ideas of where they've been ripped off?
If you get a class action settlement notice that looks unfair, get a hold of us at HLLI.org. And there are many more cases out there than the 5 attorneys we have on staff can take on. But, we do the best we can with the resources we have.
You do a great job of it. Thank you so much, for coming on the show. Folks, this is the More Money Show. We will be right back.
Thanks for listening to More Money with Steve Moore. You can hear More Money with Steve Moore Saturday afternoons at 1. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
DC politicians want to enact harmful credit card mandates that could take away your cash back and rewards points. Perks that stretch your budget and make life a little easier. Losing these benefits means less money for your family's everyday essentials like gas and groceries. The perks you rely on could disappear, leaving you with higher costs and fewer options. Tell Congress to guard your card and oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card mandates.
Paid for by Electronic Payments Coalition.